Start this video, I would just like to come on here and remind you guys that here at Melanin Eclectic, Black lives will always matter. And this is Black everything. Black people, Black culture, Black lives, Black careers, Black existence. We stand by my people, and if that bothers you, this might not be the channel for you. But let's get on with the video.
Hi guys, I'd like to welcome you guys all back to my channel, and today we are here to talk about what I read in October, and if that doesn't actually take too long, we're going to talk about what I read or what I plan to read in November. I read 7 books, obviously audio and regular, and I feel good. Like I guess the real thing has been lately, like not having a TBR, not feeling obligated to stick to what I told you guys that I was reading has been helping me read a lot. Plus, I've been getting to a lot of the books that like I actually wanted to read, but I just felt like I needed to read them. So it almost felt more like an assignment rather than like enjoyment. So I clearly have knocked that out. So let's just talk about the big elephant in the room. I finished Rebel Sisters by Tochi Onyebuchi. I got it as an ARC in the summertime, but with like everything going on, I just found it really difficult to sit down and read it. And the main reason was because it is actually a pretty heavy book. It is a book that focuses on the aftermath of the Biafran War, from the standpoint of Ife, who, well, dang, that's almost a spoiler. It's from the standpoint of Ife. So like a bunch of kids get sick, basically, and for some reason, they tie the sickness back to Nigeria. So she has to figure out what's going on that's causing the sickness. And, how do I, without spoiling the first book, because you have to read War Girls to really understand what I'm saying with this, but I found his way of explaining the aftermath, the after effects of the Biafran War interesting, because as you guys know, the Biafran War is something that is not talked about a lot because you can't really find a lot of information on it. It's one of those wars that like they do not talk about, and so I just found it very interesting. I didn't like this book as much as I liked War Girls, and then I also realized like I really like war. I really like war. So when books have war in them, I tend to get more excited than when books just have very serious topics. I still really liked the book. It's just hard for me to talk about it with you guys without giving spoilers. But like I said, I didn't like it as much as War Girls. The way that it ended made me feel like the story was done. It made me feel like everything was complete except for one part. But if I plan on doing a little review, it'll obviously be spoiler filled. So actually we might have to do a review on it because I do want to talk about some elements of it that I found to be just very interesting. And then the approach to it I found very interesting as well. So if you guys want me to talk about Rebel Sisters like in a separate video, so I won't spoil it for anybody, just let me know down below in the comments. So I finally got to read The Forgotten Girl by India Hill Brown. And I actually wrote India because I was like, oh, apparently Scholastic picked this up for an animated thing that they're doing. So congratulations again to India. This book was so good. It's middle grade, but it's spooky, where I felt like I kind of needed to turn some lights on when I was reading it because I was like, it's a little creepy. But it is just it's a story about a girl and her friend who find a grave. And that grave turns out to haunt her and her family and her friends. And it turns out to be a bigger message than what I could have ever expected. It was like it started off as being complete like, whoa, and then the message that India somehow brought together in this book is really good. Now, I'm very biased because, again, I actually really like India. I think she's a very nice person, and I met her, and she took the time to send this book to me last year. So it's hard for me to be very objective, but I feel like if you're wondering, like, this is a good, spooky, kind of paranormal, middle grade book. Um, it's a little freaky. Like, I'm not a paranormal person, so obviously to me, I was like, ooh, this is a little creepy. But I feel like to everybody else, like if you're thinking of your kid reading this, it's a good book and it's a good conversation to have, because there are some very serious points made in this book that just talk about being forgotten and things like that. So the Black Prose Book Club read The Reinvention of the Rose by Christina C. Jones as the group read for the Naked Readathon this year. And it was a short book. It was like 190 pages. It wasn't anything like major. And it was so good. Like, I talk about it. I'll leave the link to that podcast for you guys if you guys want to listen to it. We had a fun time talking about it. So it's basically about a girl who escaped the garden. I don't really know what the garden is per se. I just, what is the word? It was like a secret spy thing, I guess that's what it was. Like, it was like a secret spy place that she escaped, and she wanted to reinvent herself in this new town, and she met this cute dude, and like, obviously it's a romance book, but I would have much preferred if, like, we've already written Christina C. Jones, we're like, can we get a book just on the garden, the thorns, and the roses? That's like, I read the book, and at first I rolled my eyes, but luckily there's not a lot of like romance in this book, so it didn't bother me as much. So if you're like me, like, I got through that book really easily without any real struggles. But yes, I did read that one. So I actually did one reread this month, and it was The Gilded Rules by Roshani Chatsky. This is the story where it's a guy named Severon who has basically like a group of people that he steals stuff with. So there's like Layla, who is a performer. Her name is L'Enigma. Then there's Tristan, who's like his brother. Then there's Enrique, who is a historian. Funny enough, I think he's bisexual, a bisexual Filipino mixed man, which is so interesting. And then there's Zovia, which is Zovia, and then Hypnos. So there's this whole like secret society in France. This is funny because I think about when I tried to describe this book when I first read it. I think I read it in the beginning of the year of this year. Or was it last year? I think I read it in the beginning of last year, where I was trying to like tell you guys what it was about, but I felt like I couldn't do it. And all I had to technically do was just reread the book. So they basically there's a society that was created to protect the Eye of Horus, because that led to the pieces of the Tower of Babel. And so this book is them trying to find a fracture of the Babel Tower that gives them powers, and it will restore Severon's like hopes and dreams and everything. So everybody's banking off of this. And I'm not going to tell you how it ended, but needless to say, my library came through. And I also read The Silver Serpent, which is the second book in the Gilded Rules series. And this one was way better than this one. I enjoyed this one, but like I said, I found myself confused the first time that I read it. But reading it a second time gave me a lot of clarity. This book had me. Like, I read this book in 3 days. I like stopped being responsible for a couple of days. I haven't done that in a while, but like I just sat on the couch and just read it. So this is the aftermath of the things that happened in the first book, and there is so much here. I felt like I got a better glimpse of the characters in this book. And so like I enjoyed the characters in this book, but in this book I got to know the characters. I got a lot more of the characters' hopes and dreams and ambitions, and like how they were dealing with what happened from the first book, and like their lives and their families, and I got way more information about one character that I was wondering about, but at the same time I was like conflicted about how I felt about some of the characters. And I personally felt like Severon, he plays like his character reads so conflicted. but I enjoy the conflict of his character. And him and Layla, I felt an understanding. Now, I will say, I found some of it very predictable. Like it was certain things that were being referenced over and over and over again. So it was hard not to know what was going to happen. Because it was like the way that certain part, like if you haven't read the book, you don't know what I'm talking about, but there is a certain thing that happens at the end that I knew was going to happen at the end because of how many times it was referenced throughout the book. I could not think of a makeup look for this right now, but we might have to talk about the guilt. Like, I want to wait until the whole series is over and kind of do what I did for the Shadow of the Fox series. I want to do a makeup review like that so I could talk about the entire story as a whole rather than in parts and try to like not do spoilers. I can't do that with this. So basically in this book, the heist is that the Tower of Babel was protected by women, obviously, and they have this piece that they're looking for, this book that they're looking for, and it turns out that this book that they're looking for will do so much more than what they realize because it lies in the secrets of one of the characters in the story. So I liked the visuals that I got from reading this book. It was very descriptive. There's a place that they end up that I had a serious visual representation of in my head when I was reading it. And then also I listened to a part of it at work. So I really liked this story. I feel like I really built upon my love for it. This is the first time in a while that I felt like the second book was better than the first book. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for the finale of this book. I think I am going to buy this book, but I have a feeling that they're going to change the cover by the time we get to the last book. So I'm going to hold off because I just don't know. Like, I got the first book in an owl crate, and they didn't do like a package or anything for the Silver Serpent. So I'm hoping that with the third book that somebody's going to come out with a special edition of the third book so I can get it. But I personally like the Gilded Wolves series. I said that the first time that I read the Gilded Wolves. So if you are interested, it's a good book. I like it. But again, you don't have to like what I like. So another book that was, since I was working in the office, I get a lot of audiobooks from the library, and one of the audiobooks that was available was As Old as Time by Liz Braswell, which is one of the Twisted Tales series that you guys know I trickle in my book chats all the time. And so this one, the premise is, it's the Beauty and the Beast. It's the Disney version of Beauty and the Beast. But the premise of this story is, what if Belle's mother was the enchantress who cursed the beast in the castle? I enjoyed this a lot. There are certain parts, obviously there are certain things of Disney movies where you're always side-eyeing, and the Stockholm Syndrome situation of Beauty and the Beast is very apparent. But I liked the magical element being added into this story. I like the realness of it because it gave you a background to where it wasn't just this random enchantress that just decided you're a horrible person, screw you. It was actually like a story. You understood why she did it. But also like you see the repercussions of exactly how that affected people. And then the magical element gave me a reason to look at Belle and not feel like she was a complete dummy. She was more intelligent in this version of the story. It wasn't like she's gonna save the day kind of thing, but the story still takes place. But there are parts of the story that I was like, this actually would have made the animated story of it really good. I don't know how to explain it to you guys. It's one of those things where I was like, just read it. It's cute and it's fun. I love a good book with a real happy ending and not a Disney ending. So yeah, I I just want you guys to know that. Like, if you've been following my little Twisted Tale series, let's see. My bottom one is still Snow White. That's still my least favorite Twisted Tale. My top Twisted Tale is still Reflection. And I think this one might be pushed into second place. I don't know. One day we'll do a video where I rank them and talk about each one of them and their pros and cons and stuff. But Snow White's still the bottom. So I think the next one that I might read is Frozen. I haven't decided yet. If you guys want me to read one specifically, leave a comment down below because I love throwing them into my reads. The last book that I read is a novella, The Black God's Drum by P. Djèlí Clark. I'm not sure if I said that name correctly, but it is a novella that focuses on a girl who lives in like this steampunk-esque vibe in New Orleans. And the Orisha, what is her name? Oh, the Orisha Oya lives within her. And she ends up partnering with this captain because while she's out there thieving and trying to pickpocket, she overhears an illegal deal go down that involves the Black God's drums. And the Black God's drum is this ultimate weapon that could basically destroy life as they know it. I like a novella that gives me a good beginning, middle, and end. There wasn't enough time for him to focus on like elaborating further. I got enough to progress the story, and I was kind of sad when it was over because I was like, I could go for more of this story. And sometimes I hate to read novellas because of this particular issue, because I'll get to the end and I'll go, dang, that's it. Because this book I actually listened to 100% on audiobook, and I'm glad that I did because I like the voice actors on this one. But like I said, what's the best way to put this? When I read Children of Blood and Bone and I learned that it was a misrepresentation of West African like religion and stuff like that, I made the decision that I wanted to learn more about it. Then I went to Bahia, where they actually practice a form of West it's like a variation of the West African religion, but it's like Brazilian. So that's where I really started learning about the Orishas and trying to see like what was going on with that. I have a stronger desire to read more books about the Orishas and learn about the religion. I don't have a desire to practice the religion, but I feel like it's something to learn about. But it's a novella. It's short and sweet, so I do recommend that you check it out. So I decided I'm just going to go ahead and keep going because my makeup is good and I don't want to do this in another video. So we're going to talk about what I plan to read in November. And I just want everybody to know this does not always mean audiobook. I switch depending on when I'm in the office and when I'm out of the office. When I'm in the office, there's just no way for me to be able to read except during lunch. So I've been walking out to my car with my lunch and reading. So it's been very nice. And I have actually kept up for the past 2 months. I have kept up with my reading for 30 minutes every day. And there are some days where I read for much longer. So that's how I am back to reading. My reading routine is back. I'm like, yes. So I feel comfortable telling you guys what I plan to read because these are some of the books that I wanted to read like throughout the summer. But, life was trying to kill us. All that stuff. The first book that I want to read is Mirage by Sumaya Duad. This is another book that I got from Owlcrate like last year. Like I said, I'm trying to get, I have an Owlcrate shelf over here that I'm trying to get through to determine whether or not I want to keep them or not. So this is basically like a Prince and the Pauper style story. Like, what is her name? It says 18-year-old Amani is a dreamer. But when adventure comes from Amani, it is not what she expected. She is kidnapped by the regime and taken in secret to the royal palace, where she discovers she looks nearly identical to the cruel half-Vathic princess Maram. The princess is so hated by her conquered people that she requires a body double, someone to appear in public as Maram, ready to die in her place. So it gives me like Prince and the Pauper, but like not Prince and the Pauper. This is the book that I've always been interested in. I've seen people talk about the sequel. So because I have FOMO, I want to just get through this book and like figure it out. So I don't know if this is going to be audiobook. I think it's audiobook, but I'm going to eventually get to sit down and read this book. The next book that I'm obviously going to be reading, I'm starting this book. Well, no, I'm starting 2 books. So this is the book that I'm starting today. When you see it, I've already started reading this. But I'm going to be reading Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I feel like I don't have to tell you what this book is about. It's been all over Booktube for a while. I pre-ordered the book. This is the Owl Crate version of it. I'm very excited. I heard that it's some real Black girl magic. I heard that there is some like Black trauma regarding slavery in it, but hopefully it's not too much that it takes away from the story. So this one, I'm probably going to alternate between audiobook and reading just because she's a little chunker and I do want to do some work sometimes. So to keep myself from just sitting on my couch until I finish it, I got to alternate. I will be listening to this one exclusively audiobook because the last Owl Crate that I opened, which you guys saw last week, gave us a free audiobook of the book. So why not? I will be listening to Ray Bear by Jordan Ifuka. I can never say this name right. Again, another book that was all over Booktube, you know, when Being Black was woke, when Being Black was lit. This was another book that was really uplifted. It's a book that I've wanted to read for a while. So it's finally time to read it. Plus, I want to recommend it to my friends. And so, yeah, I will let you guys know how this goes. I heard it's good. Just kind of like Legendborn. I know somebody's gonna ask me, like, I'm not reading A Song of Wraith and Ruin and A Song Below Water because I didn't want to do all of them together. But I'm getting through all the pre-order books that I have in here that I have yet to read. I'm finally getting to them now. That's what I'm trying to say. Like all the Black girl books, I'm finally getting to them. I'm actually also reading the graphic novel via Kindle. It's like Magnifique Noir, I think that's what it's called. This is one that I think Jerry recommended to me like 2 years ago, and I follow this artist and they already have volume 2 out, so I want to read volume 1 so I can buy volume 2. This is the picture, and I will leave a link if you want it on your Kindle because it's on my Kindle. Another book that I will be actually reading, and my goal is to turn this into a reading vlog. This is Bastet's Legacy by, oh my gosh, I never say her name, by Jamila Mills Smith. I was actually graciously sent this book by the author, and she has been patient. I told her that I wanted to read the book and that I wanted to like take my time reading it, and I'm finally getting to it. I want to be able to like talk to her about her book and stuff. So I'm reading this book, and this is a book that I will obviously just be reading. I hope to tab it up. So because I plan on tabbing it and all that stuff, I will actually have a reading vlog. I said that lightly because y'all know I don't do reading vlogs very well. So whatever it comes out to, that's what we'll figure it out. But this is the other book that I will be reading. So I will be reading this and Legendborn, just, you know, every other night kind of thing. So this book is specifically about a girl named Jamila. She learns that she is a descendant of the Bastet women who have magical abilities descended from the Egyptian cat goddess Bast. Jamila's life has changed forever, and she must now struggle to control her powers of seeing into the future, changing the flow of time, and protecting people and souls. When an ancient cult discovers her newfound powers, Jamila seeks the help of her aunt and family friend to discover her gifts and defend herself. I feel like there's a show that gives me vibes like this, but I can't actually pinpoint it right now. So when I do think about it, I'll let you guys know. But I honestly can't think of it right now. So yeah, that's what I plan on reading. I know that was kind of short, but don't worry. Y'all know I do like a lot more wrap-ups. I'll talk about more of it. But I look forward to getting into this. My question to you guys is, what books did you guys read in the month of October that were really good for you? I would really like to know your answer. Please leave it down below in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, until the next time, guys, bye. Well, I don't know why I said remember, but